After his 8-game suspension, Kyrie Irving finally made his return to the court. There was no shortage of support from the fans, considering the deafening roars and cheers from the crowd at the Barclays Center. This was a warm welcome, considering the amount of backlash Irving was receiving for his anti-Semitic comments just a few days ago. He ended up giving a statement after the match, and we'll dive into what he said in this video. First up, what did Irving say in his post-match address? On Sunday morning, Irving apologized publicly for the first time after his suspension, stating that he is not anti-Semitic. The guard claimed that conversations with numerous members of the Jewish community helped him better understand the harm that his alarming social media posts had caused. After a month of turmoil that began with his social media remarks, Irving was questioned about his future plans for using his platform. "I would like to be on a platform where I could openly share how I feel without being harshly criticized or being labeled," Irving replied. This was the longest that the Nets guard would talk about the subject. The 4-minute press conference ended just as suddenly as it began, and Kevin Durant quickly took over for Irving at the podium. If there's one thing we can learn from this whole ordeal, it's that freedom of expression does not guarantee protection from the consequences of controversial comments. Irving has the right to use his platform to say anything he wants, but others also have the right to disagree with his opinions, especially if they have the potential to be hurtful. Coming up, it looks like Kyrie has some strong supporters on his side. Take his teammate and very good friend Kevin Durant, for example. While Kyrie has been having a rough start to the season, KD is having one of his best starts to a season in his whole career. The two make a great team, and KD said that it's great to have his teammate Irving back, along with the focus back on basketball instead of all the controversy the Nets were wrapped up in. Durant said that it's always nice to just focus on the game. He also talked about how everyone is aware of the circumstances surrounding the game. As long as the Nets simply concentrate on playing ball and maintain the focus on developing as a team, the fans can get behind them. KD thinks that this is a fair deal for the fans. This is because the league is getting bigger and is receiving so much attention. Everything might potentially get blown up out of proportion these days. Do the fans really need to overlook this though? Moving on, can Kyrie Irving move on from this? Despite Irving's best efforts to move forward, the repercussions of his posts about a movie full of anti-Semitic stereotypes are still widely felt. Israel United in Christ gathered outside Barclays Center before the game on Sunday to show their support for Irving's comeback. But that's not a particularly good thing. You see, Israel United in Christ is literally defined as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. The Black Hebrew Israelite group is a hate group that distributed flyers with the heading, "The Truth About Anti-Semitism." The group had demonstrated against Irving's suspension in front of the Barclays Center before a game against the Knicks on November 9th. When questioned about the contentious show of support following the game, Irving stuck to the subject of basketball. Keeping his response short and simple, he said, "I think that's a conversation for another day," and that he just wants to focus on ball. As much as Kyrie Irving tries to avoid this whole thing, we don't think this will pass anytime soon. The impact of his deleted tweet was huge, and nobody would have thought that it would be that big. Next, let's talk about how Jaylen Brown ties into all of this. Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics was condemned for his participation in the protest, even though he subsequently said he mistakenly thought it was the historically black fraternity Omega Psi Phi. Brown was simply happy about that support and was pleased that a lot of people from a similar community showed up. He added that this doesn't mean that he supports or even rejoices in some of their actions or some of the statements that they were making. Apparently, Brown's first instinct was not to notice which group it was, but just how much support Kyrie Irving was getting. He also re-emphasized that he doesn't think that everything that was said or being done by the group is what he thinks. Now, this isn't the first time Irving got caught up in controversy and had bad consequences. If you didn't remember, last season the All-Stars anti-vax position was a huge cause for controversy. COVID-19 vaccinations are the safest and most efficient way to prevent terrible outcomes from the virus. There's no denying that. Many players in the league turned against him, and fans did too. The situation is definitely definitely not the same as his recent anti-Semitic comments, but you can see the parallels. For example, his week-long unwillingness to reject the film's contents or even respond to a yes or no question about whether he is anti-Semitic was extremely damaging. Both his personal public image and the NBA's were compromised. The facts were that he promoted a movie that portrays Jews as worshiping Satan. Even though Irving has already expressed regret and criticized some of the film's messages, he still seems to want to speak freely. It seems that the public and Nets fans have started to express a lot of concern and doubt about where Kyrie stands with regard to many things. He was recently questioned about if he believes that the world is flat and if he endorses the conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Next, Kyrie refuses to condemn anti-Semitism. As if his past wasn't enough, Irving didn't even condemn Israel United in Christ, the hate group that demonstrated in support of the Nets guard outside the Barclays Center before the game on Sunday. Before the game, the group distributed pamphlets titled "The Truth About Anti-Semitism" and "The Truth About Slavery" to onlookers. According to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the group appropriates biblical Jewish heritage to claim an exclusive identity as the true chosen people of God and decries Jews as the imposters and thieves. Now, we talked about Kyrie's response earlier in this video. The bare minimum would have been if Kyrie just straight up said he didn't support them. Coming up, there's a lot of support for Kyrie, and a lot of people think that he shouldn't have been suspended. Irving's suspension received criticism from the NBPA, with Vice President Jaylen Brown and LeBron James criticizing Brooklyn's handling of the matter. The players' union had considered submitting a grievance on Irving's behalf, according to Mark Stein's article from last week. On Sunday, the fourth-year Net was questioned about how that's something he's on board with. Once again, Irving gave a short, almost vague response, saying that, "I got to leave that to my legal team and leave that to the fighters I have around me." He also made sure to mention that he's surrounded by some powerful men and women who will take all necessary precautions to ensure that he and his family are all safe. There is currently no time frame for such things, but it seems that Kyrie Irving is confident that they will be done eventually. According to Brian Lewis of the New York Post, the NBPA has no intention of complaining on Irving's behalf. Irving might, though, decide to appeal without union assistance. We can only wait and see what happens. Lastly, how did the team perform in Kyrie's comeback game? Brooklyn climbed to 8-9 with their 6th victory in their past 9 games on Sunday. Soon, Jacques Vaughn's team will take the New Jersey Turnpike to Philadelphia to take on the undermanned 76ers. When Brooklyn defeated the Memphis Grizzlies 127-115, it was a huge moment. This was Kyrie's first game back, plus the Nets have been on a roll under Vaughn's leadership. The attention unexpectedly changed to basketball on a day when Kyrie Irving's apology for tweets relating to an anti-Semitic movie made morning news. This was a much-needed, refreshing diversion for the Brooklyn Nets and their fans. Plus, this was one of their better team-oriented performances of the season, and that's enough of a reason to celebrate. The Brooklyn crowd cheered for Irving whenever they had the chance, despite the fact that Ben Simmons and Yuta Watanabe were the ones who stole the show. Irving had 14 points on 5 of 12 shooting and 4 turnovers, and he appeared rusty. He still has an insane amount of support though, and hopefully that should help him get better and give him some encouragement. After the game, Irving said that just playing felt good. He also added that he missed the team as a whole so much, from the teammates to the coaching staff. Irving also said it was great to get this game out of the way, and now they can focus on the rest of the season. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Kyrie Irving's first game back and his comments in the press conference? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.